I'm Martian here on Gideon. Sir, could you move your elbow, please? It's in. Yeah. Oh, how's it going? Welcome to Starfleet, boy. We have a casual and formal conversation. Oh my God, a casual and formal conversation about Star Trek.
We're back. Ruben's on the paradise known as Gideon.
Yes, I mean it's really pretty, but it's, when you can see something. Yeah.
Oh my. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about Star Trek: The Original Series, season 3. What episode is this?
17?
17. The Mark
17?
of Gideon.
I think it's
16, something like that. 16.
16. The Mark of Gideon.
16.
So let's get to it. We got a couple of people in the audience here. Hey gang, hey Cake, nice to see you. Hello everyone, hi Joel, what's up? Nice to see you. YDC, cake is eternal, but icing is heavenly. It's true, icing is really heavenly. What kind of icing do you like on your cake? Oh cool, it's Uhura.
Yeah, I have the episode on pause there.
Nice. I think I like lemon flavored icing. Personally, I don't like fondant. Do you guys like fondant? You know, that hard sugar.
Yeah, no, I'm more into icing. My favourite cake is carrot cake. So,
Ooh, I love carrot cake.
I love carrot cake.
Carrot cake is really good. That's a good cake.
My diabetes just went bing, bing, bing. Just went up a couple points just thinking about it.
Wow. I think Father is coming back, but maybe he could tell us what his favorite cake is when he gets back here.
What?
Oh, what's your favorite cake, Father?
My favorite. I like cheesecake. Does that count?
Oh, cheesecake is good. Yes, that counts, of course. Cheesecake hella counts.
Oh, can you not see me?
No, you're Klingon right now. There you
there
go.
you go. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yes. Lots of different Rubens behind you.
There they all are. That's a genius background. Oh, here we go. We have I want your ugly, I want your disease. Nice reference to Lady Gaga. That's cool. Ra ra ooh ooh ah. Roma rama ma.
So
Gaga,
is this a bad
la, la.
romance with Odana?
Yes.
Michelle Odana?
Yeah.
Although I thought Odana reminded me for some weird reason of I Dream of Jeannie in that outfit. I don't know why. Like,
You know,
You could do. Yeah, I could see that. I can see that.
I get this episode confused with Wink of an Eye sometimes with like Deela and Odana. I have to think of like which one was in which episode because they're both like blonde hair, blue eyed woman that it seems hooks up with Kirk off screen, and they're both like planets with like weird like reproductive issues.
That's true.
It just what one's overzealous and the other one just can't.
Yeah, I mean they're very different characters, but they have similar stories, right?
Yeah, I guess they do. It's true.
And they kind of have a similar look.
So, who wants to do the episode summary for this one?
I'll do it to the best of my ability because I'm not sure I understand everything in this episode. I've seen it a ton of times, but for some reason.
That's actually why I was hoping someone else would do the summary too.
But it's
So
I'll do
you're really
it
honest
quick.
about it.
I'll do it quick, but the Enterprise goes to planet Gideon, which is in the stage of application into the Federation. That there's been some dialogue open between Federation and Gideon, although they're very mysterious. They haven't allowed anyone to come visit their planet. No one's ever actually beamed down before. They would only allow the captain of the Enterprise. Only Kirk was allowed. He beams down into a perfect replica of the Enterprise. At first, he doesn't even realize that he's left the ship, but he's like, why is there no one here? And then he encounters Odana, this woman who she also says that she doesn't know what's going on. While they're doing that, we cut back to the real Enterprise and see Spock and the crew dealing with the terrible ambassador. I laugh a lot watching these conversations play out. I think they're kind of funny. But he's just a pain in the ass to deal with. Turns out that Odana is actually his daughter, and they needed her to get infected by the disease that Kirk had earlier in his life but carries in his blood, because all of these people have like the perfect immune system, and as a result of that, they keep having too many babies and they're overpopulated, and a lot of their bodies are so rejuvenative that a lot of contraception procedures wouldn't work, or they're also kind of philosophically opposed to them.
Would you say could we say they're pro-lifers to the extreme, perhaps?
or
Maybe
or instead of pro-life, we could say anti-choice. Is the other-
anti-choice. I like
That's
that
the
better.
buzzword
Anti-choice,
that's
yeah.
thrown around a
Yeah.
lot.
They're
Anti-choice.
anti-choicers to the
But-
extreme.
Yeah, they're basically like saying like no, like we just need to have as many babies as possible. Like we love making babies and having babies, and we're never
We
gonna
love
stop.
life.
So
Yeah.
maybe we can all get diseased and then die, or I guess was the motivation there. Yeah, he's like kind of an asshole, but Odana's like not that bad, and then McCoy is able to do some Deus Ex Machina miracle cure there at the end that fixes all the problems, and then Kirk is like, well, you were really cool, but I got to move on. My ship has many more strange new worlds to explore, new civilizations and all that. So
Nice.
peace. I'm gonna get up out of here, and that's
Do
the
you
end of
guys-
the episode.
Do you guys think
He's
it's,
off.
do you guys had that same feeling of like we're watching these Star Trek's TOSs and then there's Strange New Worlds airing at the same time, and you can't help now but like think, wow, like this was happening before, this is happening now, like all these things are like connected, like not necessarily
I
directly.
mean, I always
connected,
always
it's
watch
like-
Star Trek. I'm always like constantly inserting things into the It's like even if it's like a bad episode of Trek, I get so much value out of it because I'm
Yeah.
always so fascinated with the universe and how everything fits into play, or how it doesn't fit in, and
Into place,
well,
yeah,
how
that's true.
what do I have to imagine to make it fit in, and just that's one of the reasons why I love Star Trek so much, that it is this mostly cohesive universe that's all tied together.
Great summary, Fathery. You did it. Actually, you did it perfect. Like that's way better than I could have done. I would have rambled and on. So that was good. So yeah, like definitely. I think for me, with this episode, I think this is the first one I haven't enjoyed the season like as much as I thought. I was like starting to get this feeling of like, oh yeah, like all these episodes are actually way better than people say, but this one not as good as I remember.
You like the empath more than this one?
I think I do actually.
So
Like
that was
the
my
Empath
reaction
more
watching
than-
this. I was like, well, it's a lot better than the empath.
Really? That's funny. I think I might like the empath better. I did remember my, the faces, like that whole thing used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Creepy.
And so my dad, and I forgot about this until I
Truman
watched this
Show
episode.
audience.
But he would just say, like, in order to, like, this horrible, parents were different in the 80s, guys, so I don't blame my parents for any of the trauma that they caused or anything like that.
Man, they
I
really
actu-
messed you up, didn't they?
like, this is like, I'm sharing this in a joyful sense, not in a I feel bad sense, because I know they meant well. But my dad saw that I was scared of this, and he would say things like, oh, if you don't behave, like, they're going to be in your window and stuff. And then I remember growing up, he would just say Gideon, and I would be like, I would freak out. So Gideon was a word that I hated when I was a little kid. And he would just say Gideon like that. He must have really enjoyed seeing me freak out as a kid over it. But now I watch it, of course, and it's a whole different story. But the face is still, I feel like tonight I might still have nightmares.
But it's that old school. It's that old school mentality of there being more of an overlap between horror and science fiction. That was like kind of like that pulpy style of the genre. Things like the Twilight Zone, a lot of original series. And you get that here with the creepy faces spying on Kirk and Odana.
Yeah, totally. And before we go to the next person, I just want to also say that speaking of connections, I caught a lot of little moments in the performances that like reminded me of things in Star Trek 6, like when Spock has to kind of like solve the mystery and everything, but be a diplomat at the same time, and he's doing all this like just the procedural stuff.
He's got to be Sherlock Holmes, but also deal with it's like kind of it wouldn't be like intergalactic politics. Like we have the sovereign planet over here. Like I have to worry about like representing the Federation, and that's some of my favorite
the bureaucrats
stuff.
and the diplomats and
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Bureaucrats. Speaking of that, yesterday I took off work the last couple of days, but I had some errands to run yesterday. I spent an hour at the post office dealing with the post office, and then I spent about an hour and a half at the county tax office dealing with them. So I was so here for like the frustrations with the bureaucratic processes. I'm not one of the people who just like totally like despise the government and think it should be like, totally eradicated. I think it should, do helpful things. But yeah, like they really need to fix the United States Postal Service and the Travis County tax office. Both
Well,
both have some improvements
to be
they
fair,
can
the
make.
Postal Service has been defunded steadily for
Yeah.
about a century now,
Yeah,
in
that's very
favor
true.
of FedEx and UPS and all those assholes.
And
So,
private
that was
entities,
my one. That was
private
my one.
contractors.
Damn it!
You can say things like a-hole.
No, I'm trying to be good. I've been good. I think if you go back and watch the tape, I've been pretty good the last few
You've
weeks.
been really great. No, you've been excellent.
He can do, but he can't remember that. So
When it comes to government stuff, I can't help it.
But Star Trek, Father, I think you maybe have said this before. Star Trek's always had like a healthy subversiveness that kind of about government, as well. So
I mean, it made it feel more real too, and like just be like, man, like yeah, like the diplomats are hard to do, or when like they call it into the United Federation of Planets Department of Planetary Diplomacy or whatever it was, and they're like, well, no, you have to go through like the Starfleet channels. It's like getting like the runaround like that,
Well,
and just
that's
having to
such
deal with
easy-
that shitty
that's-
ambassador.
That's like
Yeah.
such an easy way to world build to let you know this is affecting more than just these characters in this show.
yeah.
Right.
And
I like. What
and-
does he say? I want it to be noted that your order is what does he say? Like basically like I forget what
Sucks.
the line is. Yeah, basically it says your order sucks, Admiral. Like I want it to be
arbitrary. I think he called it
Spock
arbitrary,
breaks the
didn't he?
order,
Arbitrary.
basically.
Yeah, arbitrary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Arbitrary.
Yeah, the admiral was a pain in the ass to deal with, and that ambassador is so shitty. When
Yeah.
Spock is like, I assure you, ambassador, I'm not blaming you for this incident of the captain disappearing. And then the ambassador is like, oh well, I'll have to note that you said that. Like he wants to like on the record, like it's not our fault. See, Spock admits it's not our fault.
Yeah,
You
he-
saw
like
when he
the-
turns around and says, I'll transport down. Oh, I may have overstepped my bounds when I said you could
Changing the
transport down.
goalpost. I mean,
But I
Yeah.
think the
classic,
crew had
classic politics,
Spock's
right?
back.
It felt like I was at work. It just felt like I was at work then.
It's classic politics, really, to change the goalpost when you're trying to
Yeah.
can manage a situation. You know what I mean?
But
He's
even
controlling the
McCoy,
situation by just going, "Oh no, now I can't. Oh sorry, now I can. Oh wait, I'll be my guy first. You know?
even McCoy and Uhura and Scotty and everyone, like they all had Spock's back. They're like, Spock, you gonna take this from this guy? He's like such a jerk. Spock's like, well, what can I do?
Chekhov did as well. We should never have let this. Unfortunately, the Federation did. Yeah.
You gotta swallow it. You know?
I do also like the line when Spock finally comes and gets Kirk. He's like, Ambassador, please don't get in my way. It's
Spock's
like,
I've
very
already
polite.
got one
He's like,
senior
"Dude,
to
this
deal
is
with.
happening, dude.
He's a very polite Starfleet officer.
Polite, aggressive.
Yeah,
So,
so the
Ian, what
passive
are-
aggressiveness.
Yeah, it's like polite aggression.
So, Ian, what are your overall thoughts on this episode?
It's okay. It's as I said, I'm going against Father. I actually thought the empath was better than this one, but
Me too, actually.
So we're 2-2 on that because I'm with Father on that one.
oh well, the ones in blue were 4, and the one, but yeah, no, it was. I was trying to get what normally I get what the message was. I didn't know whether this was just an out and out sci-fi stroke horror episode. Normally they do have a bit of a story, but I just wasn't quite getting it. Whether I was having a thick moment today, I don't know. Because I watched one this morning, and then I watched the original effects this evening. So I really wasn't quite getting the story. Yes, I was getting about the overcrowding and the pro-choice or lack of choice, or not allowing people to have choice,
Anti-choice,
that
right.
type of thing.
Um,
But yeah, it was an okay. I mean, I think the one bit that I did quite like, which was there, it was when Kirk said it felt like the heartbeat of everybody, and it was you could hear amplified on the ship. That's what it felt like. I mean, there were small elements. It was sort of like, I think, was it Chekhov when he says, "Are there possibilities?" And I just wanted him to say, "I would always like to think there are always possibilities." I wanted it, but he didn't. But
Well,
obviously,
there
that's later in the day. That's later in the day, but
there is
it's
another
sort of,
connection or funny line where McCoy's like, "Oh, you could go into diplomacy," and or I guess you're
Yeah.
not cut out for diplomacy. Or he goes, "Well, don't give up on that hope yet, or whatever."
Yeah.
And of course, later
Ambassador
we know
Spock.
Ambassador
Yeah.
Spock. Yeah, so yeah, that
Yeah.
was another cool little thing that they took from this episode. But sorry, carry
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's an overpopulation horror story. Yeah, but normally there's sort of another bit to the story where they're commentating on something. But I was trying to see it and I wasn't, except for being an overpopulation and not being able to really die. The only thing that came out of this is I wish I could. If it was me, I would build a toll booth, and everybody that went through it'd have to pay, and I'd be set up for life. That's about the only thing that I could come up with, because everybody would just keep going through it round in circles.
Yeah, like it's wild to think like how do these people eat or like sleep or
Sleep,
like what's all that? Yeah, there's like a lot of wild.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to
things.
see get a little bit more of an understanding of how the overpopulation kind of affects them. Because like you just get that one shot of the crowd in the background. Like, are they all just like so crowded that it's like a concert?
Again, the budgetary restraints
Yeah,
of
right,
season
right,
3.
right. No,
I mean,
that's-
they had
This
to
was
use
totally,
the
like-
Enterprise sets.
Yeah,
for-
this was
for
totally
the
like
planet.
somebody wrote it in chat. How can we just get the Enterprise empty so we can just run around the empty Enterprise sets?
The only question that really did come into mind, if it was that overpopulated, how on earth did they build an Enterprise?
They had to.
On that
That's
planet.
it. Got more.
Unless they put it out
got
to
more-
sea. Unless they.
It got more crowded. Like I feel like they were like, we need to do this
by
Yeah.
getting rid of the Enterprise set and letting people actually fill that space.
Yeah.
What do you?
I'm sure as soon as the subterfuge was over, those places got super crowded again. I feel like they were just like, okay, everyone squeeze out of the Enterprise just for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then
It'd be
so we could get this
momentary
thing
relief.
going.
Yeah.
Ruben, what were your thoughts?
It would be a proper theme park, wouldn't it? Everybody squeezed in trying to get through.
What were your overall thoughts, Ruben?
I had an interesting reaction because I mean, overall, like if I'm just like looking at it objectively as an episode of television, yeah, it flatlines early. It hits the peak threat, so to speak, quick, and then doesn't keep going up. Every act, so it's just kind of like, okay, we got to find Kirk, and it's just, the mystery's interesting. Yeah, it's not the greatest episode in the world. I do like it more than the empath because I just found the empath to be bizarre and sort of pointless. But this one, I actually had a weird reaction because I really started thinking about our modern world. Like, we live longer now. Like, we live in cultures that, for the most part, promote having a lot of babies. Right? Most religions promote, hey, have babies. God wants you to have babies, And that was a good idea 1,000 years ago when we lived, or 2,000 years ago when we were living,
when half
20,
your
30
kids
years.
are going to die before
Yeah,
they
and
were
half
5,
the kids would
yeah.
die, and but now we have much longer lifespans than we did back then, but we're still operating on that same cultural kind of routine. Have babies, have babies, have babies. Because
Although that's starting to balance off with
you see, yeah, but
birth
the interesting
rates.
part is because like millennials and zennials and whatnot, they're having less kids, but now you're seeing the kind of backlash towards them, like, what's wrong with you? You got to have more kids, and it's like, no, 1 or 2 per couple is more than enough. Like when I remember when this is all the stuff I was thinking about in this episode. So that's why at the end of the day, I'm like, this isn't a bad episode. I started thinking about all sorts of crazy stuff. Because I remember when the Octomom was on TV, and people were like, remember the couple that had like 15
Oh
kids?
yeah, there
or
were
some
these
crazy,
like
and there were all these shows
for a while, right?
and I was
That's
like
right.
telling people, I'm like, these people should not be praised.
Yeah.
They're ecological disasters. They're environmental terrorists.
Hey, my mom and dad are. My dad's
Well,
14
again,
children. One of 14
older
children. My
generations.
mom's one of 11 children. So,
So it
they
really got me
beat the-
thinking about all that and about population control, and not control, but like population. I don't know, rational
Well-
population growth, right? Because we put more stresses on the planet the more people we have, and we put more stresses on dwindling resources. So it's like it's actually something we need to be thinking about, not actually virusing people and killing people off, but like just something of like a shifting in our culture and our thinking, which is sort of happening, like we were saying with the Zinnios and whatnot.
Yeah, and it seems to also track because I read something about this like 10 years ago or so, but countries that have higher education, and that one of the biggest things that help is when you have equal education for men and women, and you allow like women to like have like free access to education, and then potentially be able to go off to college and be equal in your workforce. It turns out that like most women actually don't want to just sit at home and pump out like 10 kids with their husband. So that's another thing that kind of like decreases the birth rates in a lot
Right,
of
the
in a lot of
higher
countries.
educated countries tend to have less children per.
Yeah. Not to be like snobbish and say that like like education is like the most important thing ever, but that does track. That does have a direct
Right.
correlation.
There's nothing
with
snobbish
birth
about
rates.
saying education is the most important thing ever. I think that's like an axiom. I think that's like a fundamental truth. Anyone who begins opening a book and reading or just learning
Right.
about something, you immediately understand the benefit of that, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm saying like more stuff
Yeah.
like literacy rates more
Yeah.
so than
Right.
like higher education is.
Right.
I think also it's interesting. I hadn't thought of this before, but like it is interesting to see how we today Earthlings now deal with these things. Like China has has imposed like a limit on how many children you can have.
They don't
like,
do that
you know-
anymore though.
Oh, they don't. Okay. Well, at one
They
point.
used to stop like the you could have like one kid unless it's a girl,
Right.
then you have another one.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Uh,
ooh, y'all haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
no,
but
not yet.
it's not really a spoiler for anything, but it's just this one. You see like a flashback to when Michelle Yeoh's character is born in China, when she's a little baby, and the doctor says to the dad, he's like, "It's a healthy baby girl. I'm so sorry."
Oh shit.
No.
Hardcore.
Oh my god.
But legit, no. That's the thing is that the policy created that mindset. It's like it happened. So we've seen
The
experiments
higher,
on.
the fewer. I love that show. That's great.
We've seen the higher the education, the fewer the kids.
Bravo.
Wow! Finally,
Yeah.
Alexander's phrase finally makes
You know how they have
makes
super
sense.
chats? They should have like the opposite, where you can, you can send $1 to
We
somebody
could
who
send
makes great
$1, Joel. That was a
comment.
good one.
That's a good one. The higher, the
But what I
fewer.
mean to say, I guess, is we've seen in our own lives, in our own history, experiments or different ways of handling overpopulation, and there are, and some countries actually have a deficit in population for a while. Ireland was asking people of Irish descent to come home because they were looking at a population deficit. So it's interesting.
I believe Japan's going through something like that now.
Something like that as well. So,
If Ireland
fortunately,
would give me citizenship, I would move there.
they might still be doing it. You should totally look into it, Father. Like it might still.
I have looked into it. It's a
Oh,
little,
okay,
it's a little
okay.
trickier.
Okay. I wish my parents took advantage of the right to return, but it's no longer available. I would have loved to have grown up in the UK. It would have been awesome because they were subjects. They were born into the kingdom, and so they would have had the right to return. I do not have that right, unfortunately.
No, we got to get out of here before that second American
Yeah, I
Civil
know.
War kicks
It's
off.
true. That's what I saw that episode of Strange New Worlds. I'm like, Canada. like it's, how
That's too
quick?
close. You're still gonna have like the fallout there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I gotta go farther. I would lovely. I don't know why they call this. The Paramount is calling it the Nordics, but I kind of like it. I would love to live in the Nordics at some point. That'd be like a great place to retire, in the icy cold realms of Saint Nicholas.
I
So I was
think
just thinking we're talking about this. and like,
it would.
how did we get here from the episode?
Oh,
population.
blimey,
Population. That's how we got
Population,
there.
I think I read too that was it Montana? There's a state in the northwest U.S. that's basically running out of people. I
It
forget
makes
which one
sense that it
was,
would be Montana because it has to. it has to
Montana
be
or
where-
Idaho.
It's
They're-
one of those up there. I can't remember which one I saw the article about.
But yes, I guess fortunately, we're not like on a planetary scale experiencing this, but the writer of this story, by the way, played Cyrano Jones in The Trouble with Tribbles. His name is Stanley Adams. And he wrote this story because both he and his son were kind of preoccupied with the idea of overpopulation. I guess it was something that was very
Well, it's been
much.
an issue in the industrial age because we keep having babies, but people living longer and longer every year.
Yeah,
We keep having
exactly.
babies at the same. Somebody put it like Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Like pretty much every major religion sort of says that same thing.
But yeah,
And
so
and so we function on that same idea.
that's where the idea kind of came from. He was just having a conversation about it with Gene Roddenberry during the Trouble with Tribbles, and then he wrote the
And
story.
imagine since
that's how
then
it came
till
about.
now, I think population has like quadrupled since the '60s till today.
Yeah, it's exponential. We have to
Yeah,
remember
it's
that.
gone
Yeah.
even. Yeah, it's even more insane. Like that's why I was like, man, this story is actually, even though it's not done very well, and they don't really go into what we're talking about much at all. They just kind of throw it out there, like, oh, it's overpopulated, or it sucks. Uh,
I think
it's still super relevant, kind of in a way, like to today, like even more relevant now. Like when you read about dwindling water supplies and corporations buying water supplies, while we having more and more babies and more kids and more.
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing in the near future. As
I think a missed opportunity in this episode, because they were petitioning to become members of the Federation, or having these talks about becoming members of the Federation, and it's like, hey, there's your population problem solved. Like if you become members, that could have been a pitch that Kirk and crew could have made to the ambassadors. Like once you're members of the Federation, we can find other worlds for you to continue, to have your crazy rabbit-like ways on. So that
I think a lot of it was to do with the planet, because they were saying because there was no germs in the planet. So if they went off
Right.
planet, I think
okay, I missed that.
they would start having a normal lifespan.
Right. Maybe even get sick and die quickly, or
Yeah.
Kirk also offered to bring condoms to their planet.
Yes,
He did.
yeah, that's crazy.
did.
So then you could start. They start like some people
And
on Gideon.
foils and all those type of things.
Some people on Gideon sacrifice themselves in like a suicide ritual by going off planet. Like they do go on an adventure off planet until they die.
That could be a cool.
You know what I mean?
It might be interesting to
Kind of an
revisit
interesting
Gideon
concept
at
for a
some
story.
point. Like, I hate to always give lower decks the burden of it, but they're kind of ideally placed to go back to these weird, these weird planets or societies. But yeah, it is an interesting thing, and I wonder if you could do a new spin on it.
Well, the show that does follow up on a lot of original series storylines is the animated series, including
Yes.
including Stanley Adams in The Trouble with Tribbles. He comes back and
Yeah, Cyrano Jones
more,
does.
more trouble, more tribbles.
Yeah,
Tribbles.
with the,
Or is it more tribbles, more trouble? But anyways, he
More
shows
trouble,
back
more
up then.
troubles.
Our
They
friend-
never come back to Gideon, but they do revisit a lot of the planets and storylines.
Yeah.
Chris Collins is wondering, how do you think this episode deals with population problems compared to the computer war scene in season 1 episode "A Taste of Armageddon"? I think that's a far superior episode to this one.
A Taste
But
of
as
Armageddon's better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't seem that way because that's one of the weakest episodes of season 1. But season 1 is so goddamn good.
Yeah.
That like the weak season 1 episode is still pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But as far
There's
as
a
like
great
dealing
moment
with the issue,
maybe they should move those booths and take it to Gideon.
Just to
Stop.
entice people to one of my new favorite shows, For All Mankind. I know Father's already watching it.
Yeah, we're
But
watching some more
there's a
later
great-
tonight.
You haven't gotten to it yet, but there's a great little reference to Taste of Armageddon in an episode.
oh, okay.
Oh,
they,
cool.
they throw it in there, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I know what she just said.
They reference Wolf in the Fold in season 1. I caught that
Ronald
one.
D. Moore, baby.
Oh, yeah. He grew up. If you listen to Ron Moore, he loves the original series. He grew up with that shit. He said he used to he had a just like an audio recorder, cassette tape recorder, and he would hold that up to the TV and record the audio of the episode so that he could replay it. Like back before VCRs gave you the option to tape episodes.
Oh wow.
That's really cool. I want your ugly, I want your disease. Jill says, these people are worse than a virus. They would destroy every planet they went to. That's true. I was like, that's a good point. But at least they'd have time.
Wait,
By the way,
So are we
assuming
saying
they're
they're the humanoid tribbles? Is that what you're saying?
well, and
well, assuming
sometimes
that they're
humans
immortal
are
off planet, right? Like super
Yeah,
long
assuming
lived
that they
off
are
planet.
immortal off
Yeah,
planet,
they're
that's
basically
true.
like cockroaches or something. Like that. Just
By the
burn
way,
out
tonight's
forever.
TOS Saturday Night Watch Party is for Taste
Oh,
of
nice.
Armageddon, it looks like. Or at least Jill
okay.
thinks it is. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, so people can go watch that episode tonight and then think about how those suicide booths would help out Planet Gideon. But
Oh,
they
yeah,
wouldn't use
what's
them. They love life. Like to them,
what's
life
the
is
deal? Is
sacred.
Odana gonna kiss everyone? Is that what's gonna happen?
There's nothing
Like-
wrong with that. If she
No,
wants
there's
to
nothing
kiss
wrong.
everyone.
Well, no, that's the fascinating part. Relating to what I was saying earlier, is like, is she gonna go back and do it against their will, or is she gonna go back and try to change the culture to think, look, just because we die doesn't mean you don't cherish life. A part of life is death. Like that's how nature exists.
like
That's
that.
how everything exists.
If
really.
she spreads that through kissing, though, she wouldn't have to kiss everyone. She'd just have to kiss a bunch of people, and then they go
And
kiss
then
a
they
bunch
could
of people.
kiss-
It's like
right,
a
right.
pyramid
Yeah,
scheme,
yeah.
right?
or like
Passing
or
it passing it forward.
STD,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that, like the solve to your society's problem is just everyone making out. It's like that's it. You
Well,
know?
they are making
Life
out anyway. We know that bit.
party,
They're already
OG.
making out.
You know? You just fucking.
You can imagine it. You can imagine it. Who are you kissing? No one. Well, I'm dying, so I must be.
No, you just like casually throw a rave, and everybody's just like, ah, girl, get in. Everybody's just making out with everybody else, and just like the next day, everybody.
It's like in
She
the
does-
Matrix sequel.
She does say in this, like, even the oceans are crowded, so like they probably have underwater cities that are just like everywhere you can imagine on this planet is crowded, which is
Right, they've
like
Well, yeah,
Also,
'cause
like
they
the
said there's-
mountaintops.
Mountaintops were everywhere.
unbelievable. Like, what kind of a planet, man? I wish they had the budget to kind of show more of like this. Like, I wonder if anyone's ever explored it in the comics, or if this. I didn't have time to check like what was
I
on memory
think
beta this
the
week.
Year 5 comics, which I haven't read yet, but I think they actually might come back to get it.
I don't know. I think of it kind of like what's the planet in Foundation with the layers? The main planet where those
Trantor.
Trantor, yeah,
Yes.
like that, but just more and more layers, but clunk. I don't know. I don't want to. This Trantor was very prettily done. It's like very neat. It was like Apple made a planet. This would be more like
and
a
they
little bit more
did
chaotic.
actually. Apple did make that planet.
Yeah, technically.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, make him just be more clunky and stuff, because they've done it over the years. Like, okay, how can we add? We figured out how to make an underwater city. Okay, where can we stick them? Let's start sticking them there, and then so they're kind of like this evolution of city parts.
Sharon Aker.
Come
who
on,
played
Strange
it-
New Worlds, it's all there for you, baby.
I think they got some great ideas of their own. We're gonna see. We're gonna.
Can
find
I
out.
just compliment Pike's hair again? Because I really freaking love this hair. I don't know
Do
what it was.
You mean what Admiral's doing right now? Because I feel like here I'm gonna put you full screen there.
Well, I don't know. Pike has an army of makeup artists and people on his side. No offense.
This is the
It's close,
longest
it's
my
close,
hair has
it's
been
close.
for a long time.
But you don't. This is your natural. Those streaks are your natural. Your natural.
It's
hair,
my
right?
natural color.
Wow,
Yeah, it's my
that's
natural
cool.
color. Yeah.
Nice.
You got like the look, man. You've got the Pike look down.
Pike look.
Yeah, you just gotta shave and start
Hmm.
wearing yellow tunics now, and you're good.
Oh,
With your-
I've got the tunic already.
and I
do
saw you
have
got the
tunic.
boots and the little deltas.
The
to put
deltas,
on
yeah,
the boots,
yeah, because I've got the boots and I am going to be altering. I've bought some PU leather to alter the boots and deltas and
They're
Yeah, I'm going
they're
whole
insanely expensive, but we did see that you could actually buy the very same.
the
ones.
$400
Yeah.
$400 boots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
If
actually
you
want
want to
the
be
very same
screen
ones.
accurate, but
Yeah,
yeah, that was a
But
bit
you don't.
much.
I don't think you need to be screen accurate at that price.
I'm
It's like-
I'm quite happy with my £45 boots as opposed to $400. So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I would say that's a savings.
Uh,
That's a good
yeah.
savings.
Which is, I mean, the irony is they're actually advertised as stormtrooper boots.
a germ-free world suffers a pandemic. They might want to reconsider that plan. It's true. I didn't even think about that, but like when this
Well,
pandemic
Where
is
would they put all the
finally-
dead bodies?
Well, not only a germ-free world, but think about it this way: like we're learning more and more about the human body, right? We're learning how to make vaccines faster. We're learning how to live healthier lives. Yada yada yada. We're kind of not a germ-free world. We're a world that's now becoming immune to all the germs that are on here anyway. And as our lifespans get, as technology gets better and whatnot. So it's kind of like, again, like that's going to make the world even more populated if more people. So it's like, you have to kind of question, like, shouldn't we have some sort of, I don't know, should we not? Do we need to reach like some sort of peak thing and then worry about whatever the consequences are when we get there.
I'm hoping that humanity will actually, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but at least at some point we'll start colonizing the moon and, then Mars and go from there. I mean, there's certainly people bent on doing it.
It's so
controversial
insanely
figures and stuff
expensive,
like that.
though, that like there's no real way to make that viable anytime soon.
I'm not saying in my lifetime, but at some point, I think the next step is based on, just based on the sort of prevailing greed of the billionaires and oligarchs in our society. I think the next step is going to be mining the asteroids and things like that.
The next step is going to probably be climate change killing us all. But
well, yeah, that's
in the meantime, we can enjoy a lot of Star Trek. So that's my plan,
Yeah.
anyways.
Maybe a one-off
Yeah.
story where Elon Musk launches himself to Mars, but he misses, and then comes back, and it's the origin of the Borg. He's the original Borg.
He's the Borg Queen. He's the original Borg Queen.
He got the little Tesla logo on him.
Yikes!
Get a little money for production, baby.
I just had a thought on Gideon. If they all started dying, where are they going to put the dead bodies?
They're gonna
Yeah.
make more buildings out of them.
How do their cemeteries work? Like, do they bury their dead? And then, like, do you just have to like stand on their grave because there's nowhere else to stand?
Check out this new 2-2 we just built out of 10,000 bodies.
Do they cremate everyone? They might just have to cremate them.
I think they can disintegrate. I feel like they have the technology to do disintegrations, Fathery. I don't know.
Well, they have transporters. So they
Yeah,
just like
so-
beam them into space.
Space.
Is there going to be a ring round the planet of dead people?
Oh,
What was that? Oh, blimey! What was that Voyager? Was it the Voyager episode where it beamed off and it ended up going on that asteroid or something? And Harry Kim
yeah, with Harry.
goes the other way, going,
Yeah.
"Let me out! Let me out!" I'm freaking everybody out.
Chris says, thinking about eliminating population also reminds me of the TNG episode Half a Life. Yes, that's right, with David Ogden Stiers, where we first
Michelle
see
Forbes.
the actress
Good episode.
who portrayed Winchester in MASH and Ensign Rowe before she was Rolaren. Then that would be
Michelle
Forbes.
She's from Austin, Texas. But that is the best episode with Loxana Troy. Anyone who says like, "Oh, I hate all the episodes with Troy's mom," you go rewatch
I
Half
say
a Life.
that
That is a
except for that
brilliant
episode.
episode.
That's the only episode I love her in. Well, maybe
Yeah,
not the only one. 'cause
she's
I like her
fantastic in it.
I love her in the
she was-
DS9 one with Odo, where she like
Yeah.
helps
Yeah.
Odo when he's
They're
like
stuck in the
melting or
elevator.
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's
that
stuck in
was
the
pretty good too.
the elevator shaft. Yeah, that's a good episode.
But yeah, it reminded me of that episode too. I mean, they sort of need that sort of solution, basically. Like it's almost like that planet in TNG used to be Gideon, you know what I mean? And then they eventually figured out, hey, we can honorably die at 60, and it'd sort of be
I'd
like a
say that.
super, maybe overly rational way of looking at the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone's comparing it to Soylent Green. It was Joel. Joel said Soylent Green is the body, so they could just turn the bodies into food. It's true. There you go.
Uncle Steve drink.
Uncle Steve drink. But yeah,
There's a whole new meaning to the Gideon Bible.
Well, I mean, they
That's for
could
certain.
technically. I mean, they joined the Federation. The Federation gives them replicator technology. They got plenty of material to put into the replicator to make other things, right?
That's it. They die and they use all the atoms from the bodies.
I
Yeah.
mean, hey, make a hamburger out of John there.
oh my gosh.
Well, if Discovery makes Apple out of
Soylent
shit,
Green
then
is people.
It's people. The actress Sharon Aker, she's still alive. She's Canadian.
Gideon
she's-
renamed itself
She
Cannibulus.
her last credit here is The Young and the Restless in 1992. But she's done a lot of stuff. Days of Our Lives as well. She was on an episode of Knight Rider, Simon and Simon. Do you remember Simon and Simon? I totally forgot about Simon and Simon until just now. That's crazy. That was a show I remember from when I was a kid. She was on a show called Texas, Father.
I found this YouTube channel that says former network exec, and he gets TV guides from the 70s and goes through them and talks about, he's an older guy, so he talks about the shows and like their fate and what happened, whatever. It's really fascinating. He's done like 3 of them.
Well,
And
next
Jill
week has
saying Perry
has
Mason was her biggie. Yeah, she's in a lot of episodes of the new Perry Mason.
Oh,
In '73. Yeah.
next week has a big guest star too.
On
And
Strange New
That
Worlds?
Which Survives. It has
TOS.
Catwoman, the white one, the white Catwoman from the '60s. What was her name?
Merriweather.
Oh yeah, Lee Merriweather.
Lee Merriweather. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that is the most. Speaking of like, I'm not sure if I can remember everything that happens in this episode. The That Which Survives. I've seen the original series so many times, but I like that is the most forgettable episode. I can never remember what happens in it. It just like nothing sticks like when I watch it.
So we have a preview.
I think you can safely say that this one's a fairly forgettable one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Really.
remember That Which Survives. I actually like that episode because of that lady. And it's a whole McCoy thing too, right?
Oh, I love that. Maybe
No,
they
not McCoy, but
maybe they
she's-
should introduce Sandman comics to Gideon to make Death sexier. I like that.
Who said that?
I do
That
remember.
was Joel. That was a good
Oh,
one.
Joel knows comics. That's cool, Joel. I'm a comic book man myself.
I used to have all the Sandman comics until my puppy had a bowel movements
No, that's
on
terrible.
them all.
What?
Oh no.
I used to have all the Sandman comics on a bookshelf, but it was like a low bookshelf, and so the books were basically on the ground, like just above the ground. And when I first got my dog, when he was a puppy, they always have stomach issues and whatever. And he went to town on them all.
Oh,
And
that's terrible.
I wanted to murder a dog that day, but I
Was
was
Riker?
like-
It was Riker who
yeah,
did
it was
this?
Riker. Yeah.
Man,
So yeah, I had to throw them all out because
I bet. Yeah, you can't save
Yeah.
that. That's it. With the paper absorbs it and it's over. It's
Yeah, no,
It's nuts.
I was like, these are. Janet was like, "Oh, can't you salvage them?" I'm like, no. Even if I could, I don't want to, because every time I read them, I'd be thinking of what happened.
Yeah.
That's
no
why I'm
bueno.
glad all my comics are up in a trunk in the loft. I'm quite happy.
Now you're making me think of all my things that are like low on the ground. I'm like, oh, I better start moving some of my precious things
It
up
was
to
just one of those things, man.
higher
He just-
ground.
He just chose the
And
wrong
a Benga
place.
episode next week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dr. Mbega is going to be back
Oh, nice.
next week. That's right.
Oh yeah, one of his 2 appearances.
I
right?
feel like I
Two
saw
appearance.
that which survives on. It was one of the TOS Saturday nights I participated in like last year or something like that, and that's probably why I remember it so well, or more recently and stuff like that. But
And
I do like-
I'm also not a big fan of the episode that follows that, The Lights of Zatar. Is also one I dislike.
Yeah.
But it gets a little bit better after that, I think. We get Rec Room for Methuselah, which has some stuff I like in it. It's not an overall great episode. But then the Cloud Miners coming up, and
Oh, that was good.
what's the other one that I'm looking forward to? There's I think there's 2 or 3 good episodes remaining.
Oh,
Yeah,
we've
I
got
think
the
so
Way
too.
to Eden coming up. The Way to
I
Eden.
love
actually
that
love
episode.
I love
Yeah,
the
I
way
love
to
that
Eden.
episode
I
too.
will defend that to my dying.
When I was a kid, I wrote down the lyrics to the song and memorized
He
them.
used to
I've never
sing
done
them.
I'm heading out
Yeah.
to Eden, yay, brother.
Brother,
We reach.
reach.
That guy was what was that guy in?
Well,
that?
the other thing I want to say in this episode is I also feel like at this stage, especially Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner, their performance style, the way they present these characters to us, is pretty much what I'm used to from, because I watched the motion picture era so much when I was a kid. Like I watched the films over and over and over again. So I feel like those are like really ingrained in my idea. Like those really kind of like solidified what my idea. That's how I see them, is like how they were, and that more than TOS, because I did watch TOS as a kid, but it was like not necessarily what I was fixated on, which was, of course, when you're a little kid, cinema, movies out are always going to be like cooler than TV shows. Not anymore, but but like back in the day, like especially when it comes to Star Trek. But so I do actually appreciate watching. This is the first time rewatching the series where I'm seeing like, oh wow, like look at the evolution of these performances into the performances that we know, and it was, I can't remember. I forgot to note which scene in particular, but William
Say
Shatner
no
to me in
space hippies.
What's that? Oh yeah.
Just say no to space cookies.
William Shatner in this episode seemed so like Kirk in the films to me. I don't know. There was just something about him and the way he was like acting and stuff like that. Just some of his expressions, especially when he was talking to the ambassador. I think about like, you know, like how he had these hopes and he had these like
Plans.
plans and stuff. Like he's like, yeah, I'm not staying here. I've got hopes. I've got plans. I gotta like end up in the future and meet up with Jean-Luc, man. Like it's like there's a
I
lot of
can't
things
wait
I gotta
for,
do.
Savage.
So
Savage
that scene actually made me laugh. Can you imagine being sort of like kidnapped? You can't kidnap me now. I've got plans.
It's like says everyone who was kidnapped. It's
I've got
true.
plans. You can't do that to me now.
I'm
I
looking
think,
forward to the Savage Curtain just because that Spock, help me, Spock, has been in my head playing over and over for 40 years.
You know, they do that in a Warp 11 song.
Hmm.
I think they
Okay,
recreate
got me
that.
curious.
The Star
we
Trek
got
band Warp 11.
Odana was scamming Kirk and pretending to be a spacey damsel in distress. He really didn't mind. Yeah, I didn't mind too. I liked her. I thought she was cool. I liked Odana. I thought she was an interesting character. I don't know. I think I think that was a cute line where she's like, "I'm needed," and he says, "You're needed everywhere, Odana." And then he just kind of gives her his arm, and he's like, "Let's take you back to the transporter and send you back to that hell planet you're from."
I want to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Yeah, let's go. Bye, Odana. Let's go.
Don't spare the horses. Let's get out of here.
Cake is eternal, and I want your ugly have both said we're not talking about this episode. I feel like we've been actually talking about this episode a lot. What do you want us to
all the
talk?
things that made this episode made us think
About? Yeah, it's,
Not
what do you want us to
necessarily
talk about
so.
this episode specifically, audience? Let us know in the
I mean,
chat.
there was no great running scene like last week. You know?
Give us some cues about what you want us to talk about this episode that's on your mind. Any burning questions? You got a panel of Trekkies here.
I mean, the build-up is great. Like,
we're about done. I think we covered it all, right?
What is this
Yeah, I think so,
enterprise that
too.
he's on? You know, like the whole build-up is great. It's just the problem is it flatlines. It flatlines pretty quickly and then doesn't.
After about 5-10
Just
minutes.
keep getting crazier because, like we said earlier, there was no budget for it.
Yeah.
It is true. We did start talking about all. Now I'm thinking about it as like we did start talking about all.
Could you
the other
imagine
Treks
Kirk
to
gets
come.
pushed out into this world and falls into this like "Where's Waldo" crowd,
Oh, there would have been a total like Stanley Kubrick like
and like, the Enterprise can't
Zarathustra
track him because
type of thing going on, like with these like weird. It could have been very weird and like with those guys in those bodysuits like pushing him around and like crazy lights and like
look what Cake said.
like stuff like that. Cake says I'm
Yeah,
not
that-
complaining. I fell asleep 3 times and learned more from Father's summary than what I actually saw. Dang. Now I know which one to put on for like insomnia. This is the cure for insomnia right here.
Yeah, the only thing that got me was those faces. It just reminds me, you know, when you're telling scary stories at a campfire and you sit there and you go, "I remember when dear."
It is
Like
true. I
it-
didn't put an outline together for this one,
Like Kirk gets pushed out into the crowd. The Enterprise can't find them because there's so many people. The life signs are getting all mixed in, and while they're trying to find him, Kirk is having some crazy. I don't know. Like that would be cool to see. Like the actual. You know, I mean, again, that was the budget issue, right? It was
I'm
like,
actually envisioning in my mind like William Shatner's like scared faces and stuff like that.
imagine.
and-
Remember that
yeah,
scene
like-
in? I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry about this one, but remember that scene in Man of Steel when Superman's having that dream nightmare thing, and there's all those people and stuff. You know, Like,
Yeah.
imagine
Well, like all those
Yeah.
skulls are like piled on top of them.
Imagine Pike in an
Top of
episode
him.
that kind of takes from this, and like, but instead they actually go out into the world, and it's Pike like in this sea of people, and then the, Ortega and whatever. I don't know all the new crew members yet. So all those people doing their thing, trying to find them, and like,
Do you think the actor who they hired to play young Jim Kirk in Strange New Worlds? I'll ask this. I should ask this tomorrow, but I'll just finish asking it. Do you think he's gonna do any of the incorporate some of the wild gestures
Paul
and
Wesley.
just
You mean like Chris Pine did in
no,
the
even
2000
more,
in
like
the
even
Kelvin.
like even more, like like that one you just did, like that one.
Well, could you imagine it and actually going through the script going, comma, comma, comma.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. But
I
anyways,
mean, if he does anything like he was in Vampire Diaries, he'll be more subdued, I think.
yeah, I think so too. What was his
But-
character's name in that show? Not
The
Stefano.
Vampire Diaries, he was Stefan or
Oh,
Damon,
Stefan,
one of the
okay.
two. I always get them mixed up.
Damon is the other one. That's
Yeah.
right. So I guess we're done talking about this episode, guys. So, here's my rating. 6.
1 billion people.
I was gonna give it a 5 at the beginning of this discussion because I just genuinely didn't connect to it. I just didn't really, I really
No, I
didn't connect to this
didn't.
episode
I
at
mean,
all.
Yeah.
And
much
so,
going
but actually talking about it with you guys, I do see that there are a lot more redeemable qualities to it. But it's mostly not having to do with the episode. It's just the things it makes you think about, which is kind of cool.
Because even when
So,
they
yeah.
do like these bottle episodes like this in season 3, I've noticed like some of the better episodes, whoever's directing them says, "Well, we can't have this crazy set, so I'm gonna do this weird thing with the camera, and then try to have fun with what you have at your disposal, like even though the running looked cheesy with the string thing last time, it was still something visually memorable about whereas this is like almost like they're
think
like,
it was
bro,
the
put
same
the camera
director.
there.
I think they were
Yeah,
both
same
Judd
director?
Taylor.
Yeah, Judd
Wow,
Taylor.
that's interesting.
Which explains he was. I guess everyone was.
I guess
think
it's
I
a
figured out what it is. Other than Leonard Nimoy, everything else about this episode feels kind of phoned in. Like even Shatner's like phoning it in a little bit with his usual thing, like that's what it is about this episode. It felt like everyone was just like tired. Not the bridge crew. I'm just talking about like the director was phoning it in because he did such a good job last week with his visuals. He didn't go that far with this. You know what I mean? Like everything. Like.
Oh, I'm
me
glad
felt
he
like a
didn't do
little-
the red alert thing again.
Yeah,
That red
I'm glad
alert
that's
really
true.
did screw me up.
Maybe he took too much time to think about the other episode. Not enough to think about this episode.
Yeah, they were behind schedule on this one.
Audience, tell us what your
Like,
ratings
I
are,
want to
and then
dangle the camera. Like, we can't
we
do
also-
this, man. We got no time, man.
we have an ethical question from YDC for the panel here, so and also for the audience, I'm assuming. So, you can live on a working replica of the Enterprise with an attractive companion at the expense of everyone else. Do you do it? No, I do not.
What do you mean at the expense of what
yeah,
happens
well,
to
yeah.
them?
Let's talk about these expenses here.
Like,
Because
like what?
if it ain't
like-
that expensive, I'm down for it.
What's at the expense here?
It's only half the universe, Father.
I mean, like
So half the
what-
universe
half the
dies, and I get
universe-
to live with like.
do they
whoever I
die?
want.
Like no, but I mean, like what does that mean? The expense of everyone else, like
I think it means what it means. It means that the
I
expense
just
think
don't
it means that
exist
you just don't come into contact with anybody else again.
again,
That's
yeah.
what I think it means.
no, I
Or they're
think
gone.
I think I would turn that down. Maybe for like a weekend it'd be fun, but I don't know if I'd want to live like that for the rest of my life.
No. Could you imagine after an argument that you'd be at one end of the
Yeah.
Enterprise and the other, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, you go up to the bridge. I'm gonna go down to the hangar bay, the hangar deck.
Yeah.
If you're really
Yeah.
mad, you tell them to go into that whatever pod. The
Oh, the observation pod, and then you hit the eject button from the captain's chair.
Yeah.
So
It was only
weird.
yellow alert. I don't care.
What do you give this episode, Father? What as far as
well,
your
I can
fancy
give
ratings?
I can give you my rating, except that to get that you actually need to fill out the form C-B, and then I need you to send that to the Bureau of Episode Reviews and Ratings. And if you have your form of payment attached to that, along with your valid license for being a Star Trek content creator, then you can receive my actual review. I'll tell you how many billions of green faces I rate it in 6 to 8 months.
Sounds good. Oh, you forgot the provision about you can only mail it out on the 4th day of the month at 3 p.m.
Except for on leap year.
And you can't post it on any day that ends in Y.
Yeah, that's in the fine print.
Nice.
Yeah.
But any other final thoughts on this episode, Father?
No, don't have many thoughts on it. And yeah, there's a we are getting in kind of a rough patch here as the show is winding down to an end. But I'll just say that there is an animated series that I am very very eager to talk about in like 2 months, or I think we have what 8 more of these to go.
Yeah,
So yeah, it won't be long.
won't be long now. And certainly we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about Strange New Worlds on Sundays. So and then the animated series. There's a lot of Star Trek, and in this era, which is cool. We're gonna be sticking around in this era for a bit, which is really nice. So I'm really
Yeah,
happy
because by the
about
time that we're done with Strange New Worlds, we'll just be getting started on the animated series.
animated series, yeah, it's pretty cool.
We've got 8 episodes left, guys. 8 episodes.
Yeah, so in July
right on.
we'll be done with TOS in July.
Cool. Ruben, final thoughts and any ratings?
Final thoughts, yeah, whatever. Just kind of a middling episode. It's not fantastic, although it gave me a lot of things to think about, but not really per se because the episode was doing a lot. It just dropped a little spark in there, and then I ran with it. It's not the worst Trek, not the best Trek of TOS, especially TOS era. And so I give it a. Oh, God damn it, man! I'm on a live stream. Oh, I got it.
Your time in the open spaces run out.
Yeah. Oh, his elbows. Right.
What about you, Ian? What do you give this episode?
One perk in the overcrowded planet of Gideon. I give it.
Wow.
The only bit I did like, and I would have liked to have seen more of it, was the internal monologues. I think I would have really liked to have seen a bit more of the internal monologues.
I did like that a lot actually, and it also reminded me of Star Trek 3, like Enterprise. Even though that was a log, it just reminded me of that somehow. Like Enterprise is a house with all the children gone. Like kind of Kirk, like having these like thoughts. That's the other thing I liked about this episode. I forgot about that.
I did like that, but
I should have taken notes. I'm sorry, guys. I phoned it. In. Starfleet boy phoned it in
bro.
today. Sorry, Jill. Next time
but
I'll
this
have
has
it
got to be
outlined.
one of the most important episodes. A 6. I mean, a 6, bro.
6. This is a red letter day. This somehow doesn't give an episode a 10.
You can tell there's only 8 episodes left. The story's changing.
Hey, Father says I'm harder on TOS than on all the new shows. So I don't know.
He needs 30 years to ruminate.
Yeah, even though TOS is better than all the new shows, and I like the new shows, but it's you're definitely seem kind of biased against it at times.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this episode twice today, and I still haven't got a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I watched it twice too.
Joel says this episode has little forcing you to be contemplative, like an overly artsy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
1 is the loneliest number out of 20 million people. That's true. And then 3 kissing booths out of 10 field hospitals in the shape of the Enterprise. It's really funny. It's true. There's going to be a hospital. That was an earlier comment. And Arthur's here, and his answer to the ethical question earlier is, sure, for my final days, it would be a good send-off for me. I would sacrifice myself as your everything, Arthur, so that you could have that wonderful, time on the Enterprise with your lovely companion. It's all right. You can snap that finger and Thanos me out.
This would be the TOS Enterprise, not TNG, where I have a holodeck too.
Well, if it's the animated series Enterprise, then yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the inflatable Enterprise on screen. I hope that actually happens one day. It's going to be amazing.
You hope what happens?
The inflatable. I just learned about the inflatable Enterprise. I know about it. Idea about
Joker?
it. I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever. I can't wait to see that episode. But anyways, Father, tell folks what's going on Text Track. You guys just dropped a big episode this Friday. Yesterday
we had a great live show yesterday that you can still watch on YouTube, or you'll be able to listen to that wherever you get your podcast. We discussed both the Star Trek Picard Season 2 finale, and you kind of get our final verdicts on Season 2 of Picard. And we also talked about the series premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And if you're unfamiliar with our show, we try to go into the deepest amount of detail. We talk about each episode storyline by storyline, beat by beat, talking about all the connections to the universe and to canon, but also just sharing our thoughts on the execution of that particular episode. And we will be doing our live show every Friday at 7 p.m. The next 9 weeks, we're going to be talking Strange New Worlds, but we cover the other shows too. The animateds with Prodigy and Lower Decks, and Discovery whenever it's back. And yeah, so we had a lot of fun and looking forward to doing more Strange New World stuff.
Yeah, folks online who are involved with Star Trek Picard seem to be suggesting that we'll see season 3 sooner than later. So who knows? Maybe it'll come
Well,
out
they
at the
shot
end of
them
the
basically
year.
together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
shouldn't
they
take
literally
that
as soon as they finished season 2, they started on season 3.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't take too long. For
Season 3 could be out this fall. I was thinking that they
God,
would push
I'd
it
die
back
if
till
that's
after Christmas, but it is possible it comes out this fall.
Oh my gosh.
I
It'd be
thought
nice.
they would. I thought they were going to put it out in the same time slot that Discovery was for this year. That was what my original feelings were.
I mean,
if they're going to bring it forward.
They don't need to, because there's enough like animated Star Trek to last until December. If they do 10, they're supposed to do 10 more Prodigies and 10 Lower Decks, which Lower Decks they're saying is probably going to be late summer, at the same time as
Well,
the
even
last
if it
2 years. So
even
August.
even if it comes out in January of 23, that's still a lot sooner. We waited what 2.5 years for season 2 between season 1, right?
Well,
Or was
not
it
not quite 2 years, but
2 years,
I mean
yeah,
the
but
season
pretty close to that, yeah.
Season 1 wrapped in late March of 2020, so it was a little shy of 2 years. But yeah, that was because of COVID. They had a delayed start on production. But I was thinking season 3 would probably be January or February of next year.
Yeah,
but
I'm
it could
guessing
easily
be
be sooner. It
sooner,
definitely
yeah.
won't be later than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
What was said on Twitter exactly? Because I didn't see that.
Wait, what's that?
You said that people on Twitter were saying that it might be sooner.
I think it was Dave Blast said something like very soon or something like that. He just like the way he's like not long to wait or something like that. I'll have to find the tweet. I'll share it in the group chat with
Okay.
you.
I want to say a thank you back to Michael Strathmore. I said thank you to everybody in the chats and on the show.
Hi, we all know each other. Each and every one of us is passionate about this incredible franchise, and while we may not always agree with one another, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for the chat for chats like this. You're welcome, Michael. Thanks. Actually, that brings up a good point. Sometimes these chats can get really wild and out of control. I just want to remind everyone to just keep it lighthearted if you see that it's getting intense, and also, try to give others the space to say what they're saying, even if you don't agree with them. But also, don't monopolize and just only say negative things. So that's not.
And
to
I agree
anyone in
with
particular.
I agree with Cake. I agree with Cake that if you start getting out of line, we'll just say Gideon.
Thank you, Michael. That was very nice of you to say that sentiment. That really means a lot. It's very touching.
Yeah.
Everybody, what are you doing? Oh wait, sorry, Ruben. What are you doing on your things that you got to promote?
Yeah, my usual interviews on Pop Axiom. Just follow me on Twitter, and you'll see them at rmartian on Twitter. And yeah, I'm working on script projects that I can't really talk about, so that's always no fun for anybody but me.
But you're still gonna tease us. I like it.
And yeah, I guess I'll keep if PJ keeps inviting me, I'll keep showing up on PJ's show, Boat Wreck, sorry, to talk about Strange New Worlds, and if I can be there on Sunday, but I would talk about it too because we finally have a Star Trek show that we all like.
Wow.
I never thought I'd see the day.
Wow. This is wild.
Well, a modern Star Trek show we all
A
like.
modern
'Cause
Star Trek
we
show.
actually like almost all. Star
Oh,
Trek
maybe you'll
shows.
stop calling it. Maybe you'll stop calling it New Trek and all those derogatory things
No, I
that
won't.
you like
It's
to
still
say.
New
Oh,
Trek.
you'll still okay, fine.
It's the original
No.
series. It's the the
No.
TNG era, and then there's the new Trek, the Abrams era. The Berman or Kurtzman Trek. I don't want to call it Kurtzman Trek. I don't like that.
Anyhow, we'll
Abrams
figure it
Trek.
out. Yes, you are invited. Now that Picard's over, you're invited to my Sunday chats, Ruben. So you're welcome on them.
But and to Michael's point, I also agree with like 90% of what you say, Michael. I've read all your comments.
Michael, I will eventually go back. To everyone who leaves comments on these videos, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I've been behind, but Starfleet Boy has been a busy little bee. Speaking of which, I'd like to promote. Oh no, first Ian. Hold on, before we promote what I was going to promote.
No.
That's
My
your cue.
That's cute. That's my cue. All I'm going to say, don't forget, everybody who's in the chat, don't forget to like the video. Please don't forget to like the video. So yeah, what am I doing? I have done a build today, so I've still got some filming to do and some editing. That is going to be of the Star Trek Picard Stargazer. That's coming out. The one after that will be Deep Space Nine. As it's a little mini Deep Space Nine, so I've got that to do. I've got a whole plethora. I've got the Proto Star, I've got the TNG Stargazer, I've got Voyager, I've got Enterprises, I've got boxes and boxes of all stuff to do. So I'll be doing that, but I'm trying to get a little bit more regular with my builds now. I think one every 2 weeks maybe I'll be doing. You can find me on dadmo_UK, and I'm getting very close to my giveaway target. I'm on about 124 subscribers now on my channel, and I said when I do get 150, I will be giving away the kit, and it will be this thing here, and it will be the USS Titan.
Look at that. Very
That's the
cool.
one. So that will be the kit that will be given. Oh, there you go, for everybody to see. It's
Beautiful
there.
job. Look at that. Very nice.
So yeah, you've got the USS
Luna
Titan,
class.
the Luna class. I am getting my followers back up on Instagram. I'm getting very close to 1,000 followers again on that one, and that's going to be another giveaway. And that giveaway is going to be, I don't even know what it is, but it's an Eagle Moss bit there. So
Which one is that?
yes, I have no idea which one it is because it's
Show
not in
it
the
to
box.
us.
So
Oh, what is that? Do you know, Fathery?
There's too much glare. I can't.
yeah,
It
Is
looks
it a Klingon
Romulan.
ship?
Oh, maybe it's
it
Klingon.
doesn't. No, it's not Romulan. It's not Klingon. I'm not quite sure what it is.
I'll have to go look
But
it up.
yeah,
That's cool.
it's that's the next giveaway. So I'm getting very close. So I'll be doing a couple of announcements very soon of my giveaways. So yeah, Dadmore_UK. Except for Instagram where I have 2 underscores because for some reason Dadmore_UK was taken, but I've never seen it.
Sorry.
But yeah. Damn it! Now I know.
Yeah, Father and I use
that
that name for our rap duo.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. You start doing fake
getting
English
big, we're getting
accents
pretty
and
big.
everything as well. That's me.
Excellent. Well, this was a very busy week for all of us as content creators because we had to double up on our reviews and all of our things with both Star Trek Picard,
A finale and a premiere.
and a
That was
premiere. Yeah, so like
much to
so much
unpack.
to do. And so, speaking of that, I made it through with a cold and everything. I'm so happy with myself. Just one more stream to go on this channel. So
It's been a long week. It's been a long road
getting from there to here. It's
We're
true.
almost there though.
So tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel, we're going to talk about the premiere episode of Strange New Worlds. I hope you guys will tune in. It'll be the same kind of format as Picard. We'll have a couple of little, visual presentations, and then mostly just same casual and informal discussion you all are used to. And then after that, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm doing my math correctly, I'll be on Trek Central, and I'm so excited to be joining those guys there. And so go check out Trek Central and watch our discussion. I imagine we're going to be talking about the whole season of Picard and a bunch of other Trek news and stuff like that. So I hope you guys will head over to that and check it out as well. And then we start the cycle all over again. On Thursdays, we do whatever the latest and greatest Star Trek is. We do a Twitter Spaces discussion. That's been a lot of fun because sometimes a lot of folks show up and we get quite a few people coming up on stage and sharing their thoughts. And sometimes it's just a few of us, like 3 or 4. So it's a really neat, interesting experience. But it feels like gathering at the water cooler kind of and talking about the latest episode with some folks that you know and some folks that you don't know. So that unfortunately is only available on Twitter. Then Friday nights we do the TQIF lineup, which now Marcelo is included in. And you know, we don't have a monopoly or anything like that. Anyone who wants to celebrate, just use the hashtag TQIF and share your Star Trek Friday fun. You know, it's meant to just be a celebratory thing. But Marcelo starts off with a 2 p.m. discussion of the latest greatest Trek, as he's also been dropping recorded reviews of the original series. Then we head over to Text Trek, which does the fastest and deepest dive into the latest and greatest Trek. So, and with Amos, hello,
The talking dog.
look at that doggy.
Hello.
So,
He's being bad right now.
Amos.
Today on
Amos.
Star Trek.
So then after that, we do Starfleet Boy After Dark. Last night we had a really fun time talking about
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange,
in the
yeah. So
Multiverse of Madness.
you going to see that today, right,
I'm
Fathery?
seeing that in about 4 hours, 15 minutes.
Right on, cool. So maybe next week you'll have some additional thoughts to include.
I'm sure I will.
with
I'm
us,
a lifelong Marvel fan.
Right on. And then Saturdays, of course, we're here talking about Star Trek. And as we said already, next week's episode is That Which Survives. And then doing it all over again. So we'll see you next time, folks. Live long and prosper. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody here. As